Hi, I'm Jeff Goodman and welcome to Scubaverse.com. This weekend I'm going to be heading up to the Farne Islands with Miss Scuba UK and we're going to be trying to film the grey seals. Our trip started at Seahouses Harbour in the small town near the Farne Islands, where we loaded our dive kit onto a very full local dive boat. Just check that footing.
So we're just on the dive boat getting ready for our first dive of the trip. I'm really excited. We had yesterday, there were seals, there were dolphins, and the visibility is meant to be amazing, 10 to 12 meters. I'm in my brand new Mara's dry suit, which I've never worn before, so I'm really excited to test this out. And yeah, we've got 2 dives today, one morning dive, one afternoon dive, and it should be a really, really fantastic day.
The Farnes are a small group of islands, a short distance off the Northumberland coast. In the summer months, these islands are home to over 100,000 nesting seabirds, which include puffins and guillemots. The surrounding waters are hectic, with birds feeding and cleaning, but it is the seals we've come to see. There are around 3,000 to 4,000 grey seals on the islands and is the largest resident population in the UK.
I actually can't wait. I've never swum with seals before. Apparently they come up and play with you, and I mean some of the divers already jumped in, and the seals are kind of, you've seen them hop in the water as well. They look so graceful underwater. So yeah, I'm super excited.
As we kitted up, so the seals seemed to be waiting for us, and although I've dived with seals many times before, I was still very excited to get into the water. But it wasn't to be our day. Seals flashed by but never came close to investigate. It was all so tantalising, and over the next few dives we were not able to get any closer to the animals we'd come to see.
So we've been lucky enough to dive with the seals today. We haven't had any really close encounters, but we've been lucky enough to speak with Ben, who has some really great video footage and some great photos and some amazing stories to tell.
There's various things, and some of them sound quite strange. Seals are quite vocal animals, grey seals are.
Yeah.
So you'll hear them vocalising. On the land you'll hear them vocalising, but also underwater you'll hear them vocalising. And they make noises, they make them in here.
And can you, as a human, can you hear them underwater?
Yeah, you can hear most of the frequencies that they're working at.
Amazing.
But also you can mimic them. So there's some noises, and it sounds weird, yeah, but there's some noises that I use, this noise, yeah, and they like that. I don't know why, but I've heard other seals do it. So you do that in your regulator and they'll turn around and sometimes have a look at you.
Yeah.
And I've got one video clip where the seal's making noise and I'm going and it's making noises back, and we're both face to face like this.
Cool.
Crazy, hey?
Yeah.
So that one, and the other thing is I use gestures, hand gestures, and fin gestures, but usually my hand.
Yeah.
So say I want the seal to come right up to my hand.
Yeah.
What I'll do is I'll wave my hand like this, about this speed, sometimes a little bit faster, and then as the seal comes closer, I might slow it down or I might stop it.
Okay.
And initially, if it's, say you're doing it, what I'd recommend is you then move from here to a fist, and it will nose your fist. Okay. I know it sounds a bit crazy, yeah, but then after a while you can leave your hand out and it will just gently chew your hand and just see what you're made of. And or what I really like to do is, why my gloves have got holes in, is as it gets near, you can press its nose, and it likes that. And its nose is really, really soft.
Okay.
And the reason, there's probably some science behind that, because there was some research done at Rostock University in Germany by a guy called Hanke, and what it was doing, it was looking at how the whiskers, you know the seal's whiskers, yeah? So they can detect fish. How far away do you think they can detect fish?
Like 20 meters?
Okay, so
30 meters?
over 100 meters away.
Really?
Yeah, and what they're doing is, if you imagine a boat, you know, when a boat's going along, it leaves like a wake behind it.
Yeah.
Well, a fish when it's swimming leaves a wake as well.
God.
So you've got a herring or a cod or a sand eel, and it leaves a wake behind it, and it's called a hydrodynamic trail. Just a fancy way of saying a wake, basically.
Yeah.
And the seal's whiskers are so sensitive that it can pick up on that hydrodynamic trail and lock in on it from over 100 meters away.
That's incredible.
It can also detect the work that was done by Hanke and Rostock University showed that it can also differentiate between the shape of the fish. So it can say that's a sand eel and that's a cod, or that's a herring. You can differentiate the shape with the whiskers. And it can do that as it's swimming through the water at a couple miles an hour. So its whiskers are vibrating because it's swimming through the water, but it can still detect the trail of the fish.
That's crazy.
So I think when you move your hand, it picks up on that very quickly, and then locks in on it.
You said before that all the pictures on your camera of the seal sleeping underwater.
Yeah.
So they hold their breath for 25 minutes, or they can hold their breath.
They can do, they can do. They don't like to go anaerobic, so they don't like to stay down too long.
Okay.
You know, generally over 10 minutes they start to get a little bit anaerobic, so they don't like to stay underwater too long. But they can sleep underwater. Yeah, they do. They do that, and they do bottling. Sometimes you see them and you see their noses peeking out, and they look like bottles in the water. Yeah. And sometimes they sleep like that.
Really?
Yeah. But what's interesting is that they'll find little crevices, and they'll wedge themselves into the crevices, and they'll sleep in there.
Underwater?
Underwater, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
And they're very predator aware.
Yeah.
And if people think they don't have predators, and they probably don't really have lots of predators here, but orcas have been here before.
Have they?
Yeah, orcas and sharks, and so. Yeah, they do. They're very predator aware.
Yeah. And so their main food source around here is it? You mentioned like cod and.
Yeah, I mean, what they really want to eat is sand eels, because sand eels have got really high in oil.
Okay.
You know, so. Yeah.
And are they found like towards the bottom of the seabed?
Yeah, they can be. Usually around the sand, but sand eels are the single fish species that's fished out of the North Sea in the highest tonnage. Yeah. Isn't cod or whiting or herring or anything. It's sand eel, believe it or not. Yeah.
It's bycatch?
No, on purpose. And a lot of it's fished by the Danes for animal feeds.
Oh, really?
You know, because it's very high in oil, and they use it for animal feeds, which is a bit crazy, really, because sand eel are quite low down the food, down the food chain.
Yeah, I haven't heard of them before.
No, so you got like puffins, with sand eels in their mouths. You start taking all the sand eels out, then that causes problems, and a seal will preferentially eat sand eel because you only need 4 kilograms of sand eel to get the energy that they need for a day. Okay. And to get the same energy, you need to have about 7 kilograms of cod.
Oh, really?
Because it's not as rich in energy. Because of the oil content, so but the problem is that sand eel's been overfished in the North Sea, so then they'll look for alternative feeds. Okay. You asked me one thing about, like when I've interacted with seals. Yeah. And this sounds a bit strange, but I've got a video clip that you can see it on YouTube. But so one thing which is that really makes time stand still is sometimes the seals will come and hold your hand. Okay. So, and if you x-ray their front flippers, they're a little bit like human hands. They've got bones and they've got, metacarpals and carpals, and they can grip. And they hold, when they're eating, they'll bring their flippers forwards and they'll grab hold of fish, and they've got claws like bears, and they'll grab hold of the fish and chew away. Well, sometimes I put my hand forward, and the seal will bring its flipper forward. Okay. I grab hold of the flipper of the seal, or it'll grab hold of my hand. Yeah. And then it's hard to put into words, but imagine you've got a seal's hand and you grab it and you give it a little squeeze, and then it squeezes you back. Then time stops, and then you're with it, and it gives you a little squeeze, and you give it a little squeeze back, so cool. And you think, time's just stopped. Yeah.